In the year 1649, the 30-year war had transformed Europe into a pile of ashes. Famine and plague were rampant. The population of Central Europe diminished by a third. This was the year in which Fiskars was founded.
The time to start an international company was perhaps not very well chosen. And the choice of location was obviously open to discussion. Finland, on the edge of the world. But the question I ask myself is this: how can such a virtually antique company such as this produce anything as new and as high-tech as the uninterrupted power system? How can Fiskars today, in 1999, celebrating their 350th anniversary, be the world's most successful manufacturer of knives and scissors, and in a market where competition has never been so keen? When we consider Fiskars' successes have been achieved in vastly different product areas, the secret of the company obviously lies in how they do what they do, rather than in what they do.
Most companies today can buy the machines and knowledge needed to make practically any product. But there is one thing that no company in the world can buy: tradition. That special kind of knowledge and wisdom that can only be inherited through generations of craftsmen. In Fiskars today, there are workers whose families have been with the company since great-great-great-grandfathers. That is probably part of the secret behind the Fiskars' success. But I suspect that the secret runs even deeper.
In this environment, Fiskars' wisdom and resourcefulness are stimulated. Here in its own grounds, in an area 2.5 times bigger than Manhattan Island, is Fiskars. This is what it looked like in the age of the knife, and this is what it looked like today in the age of electronics. The estate environment is very reminiscent of a small independent country.
In the old days, Fiskars even had its own court of law, its own school, and its own hospital. The squire, who was also the president, had a very close relationship with his employees. He knew everybody by name, arranged sporting events, and awarded medals for meritorious service. This was the management of walking around of its day and age. And that perhaps gives us another clue to the Fiskars' secret. Estate employees were offered a place to live, an entitlement to cows and a patch of arable and pasture land, free medical care, free schooling, and opportunities to go fishing in the lakes on the estate and hunting grounds.
Commitment to people has always come naturally to Fiskars, but successfully stimulating wise and sensible individuals inevitably leads to wise and sensible products. But wisdom and sense need more encouragement than an enticing work environment.
A constant search for new knowledge seems to be another part of the secret. In the beginning of the 19th century, industrialization had begun in England, and the squire of Fiskars, John Julian, went to London to learn more about it. He carefully recorded all the new words like machinery, factory, and locomotive. His journeys may indicate another early ingredient in the Fiskars culture, the international outlook. finding the best people seems to be another of Fiskars' specialities. Already in the 17th century, talent scouts were sent out across stormy seas to find master smiths and foundrymen all over Europe. They persuaded the best craftsmen from the most highly reputed wrought iron works and smithies in Sweden, and they all gathered in the tiny village of Fiskars. The travelling may be a little more comfortable today, but the search for good people is still going on. I do believe that good people is a very large part of the secret.
It will be interesting and revealing to see what this wisdom has to offer in times of recession. According to early contracts, Fiskars promised to pay a certain proportion of the wages in the form of grain.
This promise was really put to the test in 1865, a year of crop failure and famine. Fiskars withstood the test and would not let their people down in spite of the fact that it brought the company very close to a crisis. Again, wisdom and innovation was called for. Fiskars became one of the first limited stock companies in Finland. New and healthy capital made it possible to save both the company and its employees. Are we now getting closer to revealing the Fiskars secret?
Obviously, the solution is not going to be found in the company itself, but amongst its employees. This was well illustrated in an example from the 19th century. A Fiskars employee, who was also the local bandmaster, was planning a sea trip with his family.
Their problem was the stormy boat trip that lay ahead of them. Their solution was perhaps typical for the Fiskars kind of care and forethought. The whole family went into training for 2 weeks in their own special way. And here we have another part of the puzzle. It seems that Fiskars have always tried to control the problems, instead of being controlled by them. Take the 1960s as an example. The business world suffered from a structural crisis. The iron and steel industries hit the deck. The tariff walls of Europe came tumbling down. Many companies stood still, but not Fiskars. Instead, it was a time of intensive product development. One of the first microwave ovens in Europe was produced here, and so was one of Europe's first transistors. Not to mention the invention of ergonomic plastic handles for scissors. Yes, it was a dynamic period that saw the emergence of today's successful product areas. The cutting tools, the electronics, the mechatronics.
Each product area undergoes continual development. The life cycle of the scissors, for instance, are prolonged by new technical advances. Each curve represents a new technical advance. First, the patented plastic-covered handles of the scissors, giving them their design and their ergonomics. Then there's the rivet, and after that the punching, enabling them to produce as many scissors overnight as would have happened in the past would have taken them a whole year. And finally, the grinding system. Now today, it isn't just the product that they sell, but the knowledge behind the product.
Who knows what new things will emerge from Fiskars as we enter the 21st century? The company has been at the leading edge of technology for 350 years and will, by the look of it, stay there for another 350 years. We have unveiled most of the Fiskars secret. Commitment to people, a global outlook, creating utility value rather than products, wisdom as the competitive edge. But I do have a vague feeling that we still don't know it all. Maybe there is a last piece of the secret that will remain a secret. How can a company stay old-fashioned and be modern at the same time? I can't be sure.